What's up, everybody? Boys and girls, another episode of Nass going down right now. As you can see, I am at a different location this time with my brother, Chase Kafeero. We are going to be talking a lot of basketball, playoff hoop, and we're going to give you guys a little insight on what we think about this past round and the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals coming up.
Cowbells never blocked my jump shot, and especially in the Game 7. All that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sounds real dramatic, like something's coming. Got that real intro type vibe to it. Yeah, enough of the smooth. It's bad boy, baby.
Yeah.
They go by the name of Q, Mike, Slim, Deron. And this is part 3. You know, like the third album. Like the third time we've been here. Like part 3. They represent the ATF. Come on.
Just a little 12 is all you need. Just a little 12 is all you need. Just a little 12 is all you need. Oh, baby. Just a little 12 is all you need.
C's Bucks. What do we think? What's your biggest takeaway?
I mean, this series already confirmed to me what I already knew. That we have the best defense in the league. And by we, I mean the Celtics, the Boston Celtics, have the best defense in the league. And from the start of the series, I kind of thought that I should probably stop saying we, but I kind of thought as the Celtics would prevail in the series because we were overall the better team. Even though the Bucks had Giannis, and I have a very healthy respect and fear of his abilities, I still believe that our team, Jesus Christ, the Celtics would be able to overcome Giannis and his abilities. Mostly because I thought that our defense would be able to hold up, not just against him, but also guys like Drew Holiday and Pat Connaughton. Yeah.
It's crazy because honestly, after Game 5, Game 5 was in Boston, correct?
Yeah.
Game 5 was in Boston. Yeah, Game 5 was in Boston. Yeah. After Milwaukee beat us on our home floor and Smart had those, I wouldn't even call them blunders because
blunders.
I mean, the first blunder with Drew's block, I wouldn't call it a blunder because the play was not all on him. You know what I mean? The reason why
it was more of a team thing?
Yeah, it was more of a team thing. The reason why the play didn't work was not because of him. It wasn't just, you know what I mean? He kind of just, I don't even know. He took the L. He took the L. I mean, he didn't make the best attempt, but he did what he had to do. But I felt like there was such a momentum shift that I really didn't think the Celtics were going to be able to overcome. Because honestly, to this point, what have they shown me in terms of overcoming serious adversity, especially losing blowing, was it like a 12-point lead in Game 5?
It was a 14-point lead.
14-point lead.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter.
Having it evaporate in a matter of seconds, especially off a rebound. Like, the way it happened, like, it just didn't... Things were not looking like they were going to go our way.
I think I'm of the opinion that this is our year, at least. This is the Celtics' year, at least, to make it to the finals. Because I feel like in previous years, the Celtics roster, had we lost Game 5, might have just folded in Game 6. But I believe that because the Celtics managed to regroup mentally and win Game 6 and go on to eventually win Game 7 really shows that the Celtics have the mental fortitude and toughness to weather storms.
Yeah, weather the storm for sure.
Yeah, and I think the regular season that the Celtics had, which was not a great start and a great finish, prepared us to be able to also face adversity come playoff time. I think getting out of the team learning how to get out of its bad habits helped it form good habits. And even when those bad habits come up again in the playoffs, the Celtics know how to stifle it down.
Yeah.
Because they already have the previous experience.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, like, and I always go back to a couple things. For one, I always thought, I mean, this is not really a hot take or anything. I always thought that the idea of splitting up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum was just the biggest, like, I don't even know what to call it, but it was just, it didn't make any sense didn't matter, like, where you stand. It didn't matter if Jason Tatum was your guy or Jaylen Brown was your guy. It didn't matter if you're a Celtics fan or a non-Celtics fan or if you're an NBA fan. Like, splitting two guys that can affect the games in multiple ways, having two of those such guys, and at the same time having both of them be go-to guys down the stretch creating their own shots. Like, not a lot of teams can say they have that. Look at the Bucks. Like, as great as Giannis is, Giannis had a crazy stat today. What was it, like, the first guy to have, like, 500, 200, and 100 something in a series?
Something like that.
But at the end of the day, like, when the game was on the line, he needed someone on the perimeter to help him. You know what I'm saying? It had to be more than just Drew Holiday. We know Drew Holiday can do that, but we know that's not his game. We know that's not, like, especially not a high volume. Like, he's not like a Dame Lillard, a Kyrie, a Curry. You know what I mean? He's not that shoot first, score first guy. He's
not a scorer.
Yeah, he's not a scorer. He can be a scorer, but he has to turn that switch on. That's kind of the way he operates. So, like, you could really see that they just missed Middleton. And honestly, like, I was talking to, like, a couple of my friends, and I was just telling them, like, even the Celtics losing the series, like, it's actually not, it's inexcusable. It really is, because right now we're the best team in the East. We've been the best team in the East since probably, slightly before the All-Star break.
Yep.
Took that momentum. That's us now. Just because they're the champs doesn't mean, they should bow down or anything. And I know Giannis is so great, but Middleton, that's how much he meant to that team. And I just think it was depleted. Oh, it's right here on the screen. 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists in the playoff series. And still comes up short. Like, that just shows you, like, that's what the playoffs are about sometimes. Like, down the stretch, you need guys who are going to be able to create in the half court when the game slows down. As great as Shaq was, and I always make the analogy of, Greek to Shaq just because their reliance on being effective and dominating in the paint, I just feel like it just goes hand in hand. But what made the Lakers also go was Kobe. Shaq could dominate for 30 minutes, but those last 5-6 minutes, they needed someone on the perimeter to at least create scoring opportunities, and that's where Kobe stepped in. And, here we are. So, I don't know. Miami, though? Miami? I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you.
If I'm a Heat fan, I'm a little nervous. Mostly because it's going to be a tough series for them. I said this earlier when we were talking about off camera.
Yeah.
But the Heat, it's going to be a tough series because the Heat really haven't been tested, in my opinion, in the playoffs by an actual defense. Because the Hawks in the first round aren't really a threat, are they? To be honest, like, they're not. It was a Trae Young show, and that's about it. And they got, shut down pretty well. Yeah, I think. And they still got what? A game off, I think.
Yeah, they still got. Didn't they get a couple? You talking about the Hawks-Bucks series?
Yeah, Hawks and Heat.
Hawks and Heat. Oh no, they didn't get They got one off. I think it was Game 3, and then that was over.
And then second round they faced the Sixers, who are already a broken team.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, like Harden is not himself. Embiid was there he missed the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to assess how good your team actually is when you haven't really faced high-level
Eastern
competition
Conference competition, facts.
in the playoffs. So if I'm a Heat fan, well, yeah, guys they have the 1 seed, and yeah, they're pretty solid. Like, you know, they've gotten through their series. They kind of give off what year is it? 2017 Hawks vibe.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that they're fraudulent. They're as fraudulent as the Hawks were, but I am saying that it's very hard to assess how good the team actually is, because it's yet to go up against real adversity as a team, or meet a team that can take advantage of their weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, in a Boston and Heat matchup, I think the Heat, it's gonna be tough because Jimmy, as great as he is, again, he really hasn't faced a good defender so far. Yeah. And it's gonna be tough for the Heat to win the series, to be honest with you. I think it's gonna be season 6. I mean, the Celtics in 6.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, but I do think that Boston will drop one of those first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one, but I think it'll be a split after 2. But I think the Celtics will ultimately they'll come out on top at the end. Mostly because the Heat half-court offense is going to struggle to get any good shots going. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like we said, before we started, with the Heat, we know Jimmy's not this, 3-level scoring machine or, technician or, sniper or whatever you want to call it. That's just not him. He's similar to Drew Holiday. He can get buckets, but he's not a scorer. By that, he can score. I mean, actually, it's kind of crazy to say he's not a scorer because right now he's averaging what? Jimmy, I think Jimmy this past series is averaging just under 30.
Well, who's guarding him?
That's true. That is true.
Thibault?
Yeah. It wasn't even Thibault. I mean, he's been scoring the ball at a high clip this playoffs, and I guess you could say the same for the Hawks. But we know that Jimmy Butler's, when it comes to that level of scoring, he's not, the Kevin Durant's and the Bookers and all that.
Struggles against length. He hasn't played great against the Bucks the last 5 meetings they've had because the Bucks just stick Giannis on him. No, they stick Chris Middleton on him.
And just revs him
you have Giannis waiting there in the back for his drives.
Yeah.
And that forces Jimmy to become a jump shooter, which, as we know, he's not the best at.
He's not the best at, yeah.
Now, if you're the Boston Celtics or if you're the Miami Heat trying to game plan around the Boston Celtics, what are you going to do if the Celtics decide to put Jaylen Brown on Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I mean they can all take turns.
Marcus Smart, Grant Williams.
They're gonna take turns, and
Horford could probably even do some damage there.
For sure. You can definitely. Al and Rob can defend. All those guys can defend.
My point
Jimmy
is
Butler.
that the Heat are gonna run into the same problem that the Bucks had this past series. They're going to need not a secondary, but a tertiary, a fourth scorer, a third, fourth scorer, to take the scoring load off of Hero and Butler. Mm-hmm. Who's that going to be? Max Strus, who's averaging 11 points a game these playoffs so far. Him, are Heat fans okay with leaning on Max Strus to be your guy? Kyle Lowry, who's fighting off some hammy issues, or Bam Adebayo.
He's really hurt.
You trusting Bam to score against who? Al Horford, Tice, Rob Williams?
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be tough.
I know.
This ain't 2020.
Yeah.
In 2020, the Heat fans might look back to 2020 to try and
justify how
Yeah,
they have a chance.
to
and
try
stuff.
and see and compare each roster and matchup and say, oh,
Two different teams.
yeah, it's two different teams. In 2020, Rob Williams and Al Horford and Derek White were not on this roster.
Yeah.
And they are now. Okay. And yes, the Heat have PJ Tucker, Max Strus now, and they have
Jimmy, Bam.
Jimmy, Bam, like you know, the
They
whole
have
cast
some
of crew.
bodies, yeah.
But people forget that series in 2020
Oladipo.
was still a pretty close series.
It was.
And it didn't go 7 because Bam Adebayo made one of the most incredible defensive plays in Heat history
Yeah.
on a dunk attempt from Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that. Like, this series was very close, and the Celtics could have been up in that series as well. We still played the Heat very close.
Very
that year.
close.
And
We didn't even mature enough as a team yet. We
Yeah.
weren't even matured enough.
we hadn't. And that's the thing. As a group, how much has that Heat team really improved since then? And how much have we improved since then?
And they've been trying to improve with their pockets.
Yeah.
You know, trying to sign out, like you said, PJ Tucker was not there. Kyle Lowry's not there. They're trying to get these guys who have been in, you know, championship situations over the past couple of years, you know what I mean? And trying to kind of not cheat their way, but, you know, cheat their way, you know, to, you know, not even cheat their way up. They're already kind of up there, but cheat their way of, you know, maintaining that relevancy in the Eastern Conference. Because as you know, the East has just improved immensely over the past couple years. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you say about, you know, Jimmy Butler. I feel like we're gonna treat him just the same way we treated Kevin Durant, Giannis, just throwing different bodies. Like Tatum did a great job on KD, and I know the data backs it up and the eye test, and he did a great job on him. But the Celtics sent numerous guys at Kevin Durant. Jaylen Brown was defending Kevin Durant. Marcus Smart was defending Kevin Durant. Tatum, for the majority, was defending Kevin Durant. Horford was doing, like, he had a cycle of defenders. Interchangeable defenders that would come on doubles, sometimes triple teams, guys he would matched up against. Just a bunch of different guys just to annoy him, you know, just bump him out of place. And we're going to do the same exact thing to Jimmy Butler.
I don't
The
think
same
we are.
exact thing.
I don't think we are. I think we need to play Jimmy a little differently.
You think so?
We kind of need to play him as if he's Giannis. Because even though Jimmy's been shooting like 36% from 3
Yeah.
this playoffs, I think I saw,
Yeah,
you're still going to dare that man to shoot the ball.
for sure.
Like, and he is not nearly the offensive force that Giannis is in the paint.
Yeah.
You know, he won't be getting those tic-tac calls, those offensive charges, they won't be calling those. And if you got Jason Tatum on you, if you're Jimmy Butler, like, I don't know. I think we'll guard him as if he's Giannis, and we'll dare him to become a jump shooter.
Yeah.
That's what I think, anyway.
But the problem with that is that he's proven recently that when you test him to do something that he's incapable of doing at a high level, he tends to do it at a high level.
And keep doing it. Prove it.
No, it's not enough. I mean, they're going to do that. Yeah. And it's not enough to beat us anyways.
It's not.
Beat the Celtics anyways, for that matter. But I still think that doing that, I don't know if it totally takes them out of the game. Just because of the amount of bodies that they can also throw at the Celtics.
The only reason why the Celtics' strategy on KD worked in the first place is because the Nets didn't really have anybody else outside of KD and Kyrie who could like create a shot at that level.
Yeah.
That's why we could send 3 guys to KD on a catch, not be worried about him like swinging out to fucking like Claxton, or Seth Curry who had a bum ankle anyway, or like Blake Griffin, something like that. That's why like that worked back then.
Yeah.
Right. When it came to the Bucks, we sort of just made that wall again. Or we had Horford or Grant cover Giannis in single coverage, right? And that's how we did that because it worked. But in this series, what we need to really worry about is, I guess, Jimmy. And him creating shots for shooters. Because I don't know if Bam is going to be that effective this series. Or I feel like his impact might be neutralized by Al and Rob, who hopefully is healthy by the time the Celtics play on Tuesday, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
It'll be very... So who do you think... So Jimmy's going to guard Tatum, for sure, right? You're putting Jimmy on Tatum? Or you're putting Jimmy on Jalen?
Jimmy on Tatum, I guess. No. That's tough because you don't want...
Would you put PJ on?
Jimmy to work too much.
Too much, yeah.
On defense.
Yeah.
So you might actually start off with PJ on Tatum. And you might put... It's tough, man. It's tough because...
It's very tough.
What is the Heat's best potential starting five?
The Heat's best potential starting five?
Yeah. Their most
lethal?
versatile, their most lethal, their most... whatever.
I know Jimmy's on there. I know Bam's on there. Hero has to be on there too, even though he doesn't help necessarily defensively, but him being able to be a microwave for them, he's always good to go off for at least a quick 10-point quarter or whatever. You know what I mean? He's ability to get hot, so he has to be in there. I would say. Now, this is where I'm stuck. Duncan Robinson's hurt, correct?
No.
He's not hurt? He's healthy now?
He's healthy.
Did he play last game?
I have no idea, but all I know is that he comes off the bench now for Max Strus.
Okay.
That's all I know.
For Max Strus. And I just think that the versatility, and I brought this up to you in the Twitter space when we talked about it like a month ago. If Oladipo is in shape, I feel like he gives them something.
No.
You don't think he gives them anything?
No.
In terms of being a dangerous, versatile lineup
No.
against the Celtics?
No.
You wouldn't ask him to go guard Jaylen Brown?
Oladipo? This current... No. I would not.
Or guard Derek White or a guard? Guard Marcus Smart?
I don't think it's in the Heat's best interest to have him out there.
At all?
The Celtics team. Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't know. I have no concrete evidence to back this up with, but I just feel like if he gets minutes, he's going to get like the Mason Allen treatment, essentially. I feel like, I don't know.
Oh, from shooting from the perimeter?
I forgot where I saw this from, but I saw, like, I just don't think he'll be as effective this series. I think for some reason he's going to struggle against us. But, I mean, who knows, to be honest with you.
I just feel like... So now, like, for me, the Bucks, for example, they have Drew Holiday. And Drew Holiday... And I'm not comparing Oladipo to Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday is a guy that can do a lot of things. He can shoot the ball. He's scrappy. He can run pick and roll. He can go get a shot for himself. He can defend. He can do all these things. I'm not saying Oladipo can do all those things at a high level, such as Drew. I know he's a guy whose body is still... It's not the same as it was as the All-Star he was back in... What was it? I don't even know. Maybe 2016 or 15, whatever couple years he made the All-Star game. I know he's not exactly that same player. The injuries have been too, detrimental on his body. He's a different player right now, slightly. He shows
He's a different player right now.
He shows flashes, but he's a different player. I just think that he just gives them such versatility. Because, bro, they're gonna need Jimmy on. Especially, I'm talking more so on defense and as an athlete. I feel like in this series they need a guy like Oladipo. Because listen, Jimmy Butler can't go guard Tatum and Jalen. He can't. So, and what other person? PJ Tucker?
You're saying like their best lineup is what? Probably like Hero, Butler, Depot, Bam, and
I just
Tucker.
think for Depot's versatility, he might, for this series particularly, he might be a part of that most dangerous lineup. Because I think, because the Celtics, think about it, the Celtics can go big and they can go small. But regardless, even if they're big or small, they still have Smart, Tatum, or Brown out there. And if Tatum has, hypothetically, Smart has this amazing game 3, goes for like 13 points in the third quarter. Tatum has a hot hand, but Butler's out there on Jalen, giving Jalen hell. Jalen's having a slow game, but the other guys are eating. Who else are you gonna have out there with Jimmy? Jimmy's 30, what? 32? 32, 30. We've seen what Tatum has done to these older dudes. I guess Giannis is not particularly older, but we saw what he did to Kevin Durant. He wore him down. He wore the man down. He wasn't just defending him, he was also giving him buckets. You don't think Butler is going to be, like, tired?
He's going to be exhausted.
I think he's going to be exhausted. And
Because
he's
he
not
will
Mr. Healthy
he
either.
will literally not get a break.
He's not going to.
He's either guard Jaylen Brown
Or Jason Tatum.
or Jason Tatum
The whole game.
the entire time. The Heat have nobody else on their roster other than maybe like PJ Tucker who they can trust to guard those guys.
And I don't think I even trust PJ. I just think
don't either.
I think
it's too slow.
I just think that
Tatum's too big.
you can only ask a guy at such an age to keep up with athletes of this age. Like Tatum and Brown are 25,
They're in like
24 and 25
They're in their athletic primes right now.
right now. And you're gonna go ask PJ Tucker, who's logged how many playoff minutes? How many years has he been in the league? He's from what draft? I don't even know. 2009?
That's the guy that the Heat have to lean on to stop our wings. And to be honest, of all the teams left in the playoffs, like the Mavericks and Golden State,
Yeah.
not a lot of them have the guys to guard our guys. The
don't
Mavericks
know,
sure
man.
as hell don't.
Yeah, Mavs don't. It's what?
Golden
Just
State
Dorian
might.
Finney.
They might have Wiggins. They might have Green. They probably have.
I think
They
they
probably have the best chance because they sell Porter and like
Yeah, Porter there too. I forgot about
Iguodala
Porter
as well.
Yeah, facts.
and Kuminga.
Yeah,
So they still have like
they have some bodies they can legit
in
throw
theory,
at us. Yeah.
yes. But the Heat, as good as they are and as good as Jimmy is, the Heat don't have enough, in my opinion. The Heat, and I'm biased, and I could be biased as a Celtics fan, but I don't believe the Heat have enough wing defense to stop Jason or Jalen or anybody. If you want to beat our team, you need solid wing defenders, balanced, keyword, balanced scoring attack, and need size in the paint. The Heat are missing 2 of those 3 things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think we'll win that series in 6. I think Jimmy will have a great game 1 and maybe a great game 2 since they'll be in Miami. But I think every game after that, I think our defense will adjust to his game
Yeah.
and force him to become something he isn't.
Yeah.
Bam, I think Bam is gonna do what Bam does, but Bam is not an offensive threat.
Yeah. He's not.
He's like at best.
I mean,
he's
What do you mean by
20.
offensive? What do you mean by offensive threat?
Like he's
though?
not. He's a player.
I don't want to be
that if he gets
disrespectful
like
to
his
the guy.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm like
But when I think offensive threat, you think of all things offense. I mean, he's
Like,
still a guy that you can get flexible with lineups.
if Bam
He can make a play
was-
for someone.
If Bam was on this Bucks team,
Yeah.
would you like?
Would I play him?
Not even that. Like, would you trust him to score
On this team?
against us, against the Celtics? No.
I wouldn't, but an offensive threat, like I still think, like he's like, I kind of compare him to the spot that Bobby Portis is in. Bobby Portis is definitely a superior perimeter shooter.
Yeah.
He's little, are they like the same height? Probably around the same, roughly the same height.
Bam might be smaller.
Bam is definitely a teeny bit smaller, but you can get more flexible with him in offense. Though Bobby's the better shooter, like he's a little bit better as the point forward or point center to say. So I mean, when it comes to offensive scoring threat, no, but I still think he gives you some versatility on offense that Bobby Portis doesn't offer. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know.
I think the Heat's problem is the fact that no matter what they do, they're gonna have one of either Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, or Duncan Robinson, or Victor Oladipo on the court at all times.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to attack. We're going to attack them. And I think when we do attack them, we're gonna have a lot of success getting to the rim because unfortunately, the Heat's best rim protector is a 6'9" center. I'm not saying Bam can't do his job in the paint and protect the paint and everything else, but I am saying that it's a lot to ask one dude to be your backline because last series, Giannis had help.
Giannis had help.
He had Brooke. He had Bobby.
And Bobby, yep.
And
he's
Tatum,
and he's bigger than Bam.
Yes.
And he needed
It is only Brooks's his size that gave us problems.
Yeah.
His sheer size.
Yeah.
And even then, as the series wore down, we scored on him.
Yeah.
So
made him work more on defense.
Yep. So I think Bam, as great as he is on defense, as great as he is at the rim, everything else, I think the Heat lack an extra defender to throw at us. A guy who's like 6'6", 6'8", around that size somewhere that can like defend at a high level, or at least defend at an above average level. I don't think they have enough defense or offense to beat us in the series. I think they'll push us for sure because I have to respect the number one seed and they have home court advantage. But I also think that ultimately we'll win this series and we'll take care of business and go to the finals for the first time in 14 years. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, not 14 years, 13 years, because we made it in 09, right?
Yeah. Made it on that. We lost
13
lost the
years.
Lakers.
And,
13 years, man. It's crazy.
But yeah, that's my take on that series.
So what's your before we move to the next obviously segment, what's your final prediction? You got Celtics in 5, 6.
I got us in 6.
Celtics in 6.
I think the Heat will be a tough matchup, but I think they'll be slightly easier than the Bucks were because they don't have Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's why.
I'm gonna go Celtics in 5. And this is no disrespect to Jimmy Butler and Heat coach and all that. But I just think that I just feel like people are really undermining what went down in the Eastern Conference seeding. Like, we all knew that the Heat were the 1 seed.
Man,
But
they're really close to not being the 1 seed.
who? The Heat?
The Heat.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a scare.
They had a scare, and on top of that, when you rank like the best teams in the Eastern Conference, what 2 teams would you start off with? I know one of those teams is Milwaukee. If you were to take the Celtics out and you were to list who are the next top two teams in the East, not named the Boston Celtics, who would they be? The Milwaukee Bucks. And who would the second one be for you?
Probably the Heat, right?
Probably the Heat. And then go, now who's your third? Maybe Philly, maybe Brooklyn.
Maybe Philly, maybe Brooklyn. That's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up. But my point being is that wouldn't you think the Heat, because of the previous inferior opponents that they faced, wouldn't that make them a little less scary to you than a Brooklyn and Milwaukee?
Less scary?
In my opinion. Because like for all the things that we talked about, and this Celtics team that's already been battle tested has already taken out 2 superstars. 2. Do you really think they're going to... They're looking at Miami like, of course they have to go out and execute and do it. But they know for sure.
But they ain't like that. They ain't that animal. Right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like yeah, it's Miami. And yeah, they're a good team and they're well coached. But they ain't Giannis.
They're not Giannis.
They ain't KD.
Yeah.
All right? Jimmy Butler...
Great player.
Yeah, is not going to
Future
keep coaches up at night.
Yeah, no. He's not.
Like, I know he's a great player, and I know and I'm not trying to be
The Debbie Downer, yeah, not disrespectful. But there's just levels.
But he's not KD and he's not Giannis.
There's levels.
He's just not.
There's just levels. That's all it is. And
He's
he'll
not.
be the
And
first
that's
to tell
the reason
you.
why.
He'll be the first to tell
Tatum,
you.
one could even argue that Tatum is just as good as Jimmy right now. If not better.
He is just as good as Jimmy right now.
If not better. Because
I'd probably go out and say better too.
Jimmy do better than Tatum?
Right now, I couldn't tell you.
Definitively. Tell me.
I couldn't tell you because I've never seen Jimmy.
He's not a better scorer than...
He's not.
Not a better scorer.
He's not.
And defense department...
He's probably a better leader, and I don't even know how you even quantify that anymore.
can't.
You can't quantify it.
Not
So it's
anymore.
like, I don't even know what that even means anymore. He's a better leader. There's so many different ways of leading that it doesn't even make sense to even use it as a way to, kind of gas up someone else in a debate or anything.
If you want to give Jimmy the nod on defense, that he's a better defensive player than Tatum, then fine.
But after that, then
what? Tatum is also 6'9", 6'10", bro. So
he's bigger than him.
He's bigger than him.
And he's
He'll
younger.
always be.
And he's more athletic right now than him.
So,
everything physical, Tatum
has the
checks off.
advantage.
Yes,
Yeah,
takes
that's
off.
the advantage. So when you have that, let's just say that Tatum, Jimmy cancel each other out. What's left?
I know.
Could this Heat team, without Jimmy, and a Celtics team without Tatum, what's a better roster? And you look at each roster and you still see that we still have the defensive player of the year. And we still have an all-star, Jaylen Brown. And we still have guys like Al Horford.
We got Rob Williams.
And all defensive big man. And you look at the Heat, you have Bam Adebayo, who's a great
two-way
defensive
guy.
big man. Yeah, a good two-way guy. There's show Kyle Lowry, who's coming off a hamstring injury that may or may not be healed completely.
Yep.
And then you have Max Strus, who's a good shooter. But he's still a role player.
Yep.
There's Tyler Hero, who's a good scorer. 6th man of the year, but he has defensive limitations that teams will take advantage of in the playoffs. On top of that, he also hasn't played well during these playoffs so far.
Yep.
So if he never finds his rhythm, that's another thing that he has to worry about. What else? PJ Tucker's 35 years old, 36 years old, 37. I don't know.
He's old. And
then they have Omar Yurtseven, who doesn't commit for a reason. And out of their key rotation guys, I can't think of anybody. Oh, there's Victor, who.
That's it.
That's really it.
And still,
he's coming off an injury and needs to play himself in the game shape better.
Yeah.
So the Heat have a lot going against them than for them, and that's why I still think it's going to be the Celtics in 6. The Celtics know exactly who they are, they know exactly what they do, where it comes from, how it gets there, and where it's going. And I think that Bucks series woke us up, and I think we'll be good to go for. I think the Celtics will win the series in 6 games, and I think the Celtics will go to the finals this year.
I agree. I have the Celtics in 5 games, partly for a lot of the reasons that Chase mentioned, and bottom line, I just think that there's no way we can just go from beating Kevin Durant and Giannis in back-to-back playoff series and then just looking at Jimmy Butler and being like, oh no. You know what I mean? I just feel like we'll be able to handle that. So that's that, the Eastern Conference. Next, we're going to touch the Western Conference. So the Western Conference Finals is set. Mavericks, the Warriors. Booker and CP3 blew it. They really blew it. They were mocking the man, the man known as Luka. They were mocking him. And, this is just what all-time greats do. Is that right? We think he's an all-time great already.
He is.
He's leading the... Is he number... You saw that he's already passed the minimum games required to be on the list for highest playoff career scoring average.
Yeah.
He's like number 2, and Nick Wright was just on it.
He's number 2 behind Jordan.
Immediately behind Jordan. That's
we really are watching Luka. Anyway, we really are watching like the next NBA great, like the next Larry Bird, the next Michael Jordan, the next LeBron James, the next, etc. Like you name a top 5 player from NBA history, Luka is that. Like
Luka's that. He is
defeating this Suns team, the 64-win Suns team, in Game 7 on their home court, has elevated this man into legendary status. And he is literally just an all-time great. I'm watching him. He already was an all-time great before he stepped into the NBA, but to do this on this stage in this way at this time against this team,
different.
It's special. It truly is special. And I don't know, you guys might not know this about me, but like I'm a huge Steph fan, a big Steph supporter over here.
Big Steph fan.
Big Steph fan. I've been a fan since forever.
Yeah.
But if this Mavericks and Warriors series, I don't know. It's tough because I'm not. On paper, yes, the Warriors are a better team than the Mavericks, but Luka is still Luka. You need to give him the. What was it? I think it's a phrase that Pop uses a lot. Is it appropriate fear? I think it is. If you're Golden State, you cannot take games off, like how you did against Memphis. Okay, just can't. This is against Luka Doncic, who, if you take a night off, he'll take a game from you, or 2
easily. Maybe the series.
Who knows? Like Phoenix just
some shit.
Phoenix took their foot off the gas pedal after they went up 2-0 and then they got beaten 7. But anyway, the point is that Luka is an all-time great. He proved it against the Clippers a few years ago by pushing them in back-to-back years. But I think now it's set in stone. You can't erase it clear that he is indeed an all-time great. We're watching probably the greatest Maverick of all time become the all-time greatest Maverick. Yeah.
Man, that's the best we can say. An all-time great Maverick, basically continuing his career at, he's an all-time great already. I 100% agree. Going into this series with the Suns, I picked the Suns.
I did too, by the way.
I picked the Suns. I picked the Suns in 6, to be specific. I knew Luka was so great he'd get a game. I didn't know he was going to get the series, though. But what I thought was interesting was I wanted to see how the Suns would react, because I knew Spencer Dinwiddie was having a tough playoffs up until obviously this past Game 7. Brunson had a tough couple games start off this Suns series, but he was amazing in the Jazz series. I knew once Luka got back, it would take him a little bit to kind of get reacclimated with those two guys, especially because those two guys were, obviously, as you know, like ball handlers, it's tough to just a guy like Dinwiddie who was getting the green light basically every game in Utah. It's tough for a guy with such a usage rate like Luka to come in and your basically your effectiveness and your production. It's hard to basically maintain that, especially throughout a 7-game series. Teams key in on you, film all that, so it's hard. So I thought that I wanted to see how the Suns would react to a game where Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Luka were just wreaking havoc. I wanted to see how they could combat it. I know they had Mikal Bridges. I know he's a great defender. But Mikal Bridges, like I said about, we just talked about in the Celtics series previously, Mikal Bridges can't guard all three guys. Jimmy Butler can't go guard Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Smart and then go be effective on offense. Mikal Bridges can't just go guard all these guys alone by himself. You can't ask him to maintain that high level.
I mean, like,
defense.
there's still Jay Crowder, but Jay Crowder is.
But Jay Crowder is Jay Crowder. He's a respectful defender.
But yeah, like
stay in front of your man.
But he can still be beat.
He'll make you work. He'll definitely make you work. But like you said, it doesn't matter. He's gonna get beat. He can get beat. So that was my biggest takeaway going to the series, and I was just shocked at how much repeatedly Luka was just carrying. Like, I know he was carrying, but this is different. This was an NBA Finals team last year.
He didn't even carry them, bro. He just killed the Mavericks. That's not even like
I don't know.
I consider carrying when your teammates are doing well and you need to carry like the offensive load. I feel like Luka came into this game wanting to kill him, just act like on fire. I want to put these fuckers away.
Yeah.
No Book was talking shit.
Book was talking shit.
Book was talking hella shit, chirping too much, bro. And that's why I hate dudes who talk too much. Prove it.
He was yapping
with your play.
He was yapping.
Like that Luka special. Like, all right, bro. All right. Like,
he got humbled. He got humbled.
And now, it's just tough if you're a Suns fan, but that's Luka Doncic for you.
So for like Chris Paul, and I think Chris Paul's, if I'll put it this is how high I think of Chris Paul. If you were to walk into the room and I asked you, who do you think the best point guard to ever live was? And I said Chris Paul, I wouldn't look at them and be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's just how
I laugh at them.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, when it comes to just a point guard, we know he just has in a vacuum.
In a vacuum, in a completely isolated sense, yes, Chris Paul is one of, if not the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball. He's amazing. But the game isn't just about being great at what you do individually.
That's always going to be a thing with
sport, and people are always going to look at what you've actually done with your talent or your title.
Yeah.
So if you're this quote unquote point guard, he's choked one too many times for me to see him as the greatest point guard ever, or one of top 5 greatest point guards ever, because point guards can lead their team when it matters the most.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul, when it's mattered the most in his career, has not done that. He's gotten close. He's sniffed it, but he didn't do it, and that's all that really matters in the end.
Yeah.
Did you win or did you lose? If you lost, you lost. The Suns, they don't really have much flexibility going forward. I don't really see how they can make their team better, marginally speaking. There's no pieces to trade. There's nobody to cut or whatever.
Yeah.
They got to re-sign Ayton, though. So I gotta say, they gotta re-sign him, because if they lose him, it's gonna be their window is shut for sure, long term. That being said, is Aiden going to want to resign in Phoenix? Does Sarver want to pay him max money for a guy that will be a starting center for a team that just got bounced in the second round? I don't know. Can the Suns, does he want to even pay above the luxury tax to keep in Bridges, Booker, Paul, and Ayton? Like, it's a lot of questions, and Phoenix doesn't have much answers, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. Personally speaking, I was happy to see the Suns lose because I don't like Chris Paul. I find him irritating, and that's it, actually.
He's had to get that one off, one bar off. I feel you. I mean, hey.
I thought him unlikable. No offense to Chris Paul fans or Suns fans or Thunder fans or Hornets fans or Pelicans fans or Clippers fans or any of the fans of any franchise he's played for, but I don't like Chris Paul that much. I understand he's a great winner, quote unquote, and everything else, but his antics, his really, basketball antics,
really is the antics,
really irritate me. And I don't like players who do that kind of that nonsense. Harden too, by the way. that foul baiting nonsense.
Get them bars off, dog.
Leave that shit at home, like come on now. So, it's not for me, but it's just my personal feelings. That's just me.
So what you think about Warriors, Mavericks? What did we already say? Did you already give a prediction? What are you thinking?
I got the Warriors in 6 for that one.
Warriors in 6.
But it will be a very, very tough 6.
Yeah.
Luka will cook those. Luka will cook them. Let's not get twisted. Golden State will not be able to stop Luka. Luka's going to absolutely give the Warriors problems. I can guarantee you that one. Guarantee it. But the only reason why the Warriors are going to win this series is because the Mavericks have no way of stopping that three-headed monster of Clay, Poole, and Steph. It's going to be tough. The Mavericks don't have defenders who are physical enough to get the Golden State guys out of their rhythm.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you want to beat Golden State, you need to have guys who are willing to get physical with their guys off the screens and pin downs and everything else to get them out of their rhythm. The Grizzlies had that last series, and it worked because Clay and Steph didn't exactly shoot great all year.
Yeah,
in the whole series.
Brooks and Bain, and those guys.
Brooks, Bain, Tice.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
Et cetera. Tillman. So it's gonna be tough on the Mavericks. Yes, Luka will get his. I can guarantee you that one. But it's gonna be tough.
Just him, though.
Exactly. It's gonna be tough for the Warriors to not do exactly what they want to do at offense, because the Mavericks have been killing teams with small ball. Right?
Killing them. Kleber spacing out.
First round, a big man, Rudy Gobert, pull him out, let's cook him. Easy.
Yeah.
Second round, Ayton, pull him out, let's cook him. Easy. Okay. This is the first time the Mavericks are going up against a team in the playoffs. They can play small ball just as good as they do. Because the Suns and Jazz are the only two teams in the Western playoffs that could not go small. They couldn't. And if you want to beat the Mavericks, you need to be able to play on their level. And that means small ball. That's why I also kind of thought that even if Phoenix had beaten Dallas tonight instead of losing by 50 points, I still thought that Golden State was going to handle Phoenix in 6 because Phoenix could not go small. But Golden State and Dallas, Golden State's small ball is going to give Dallas problems because Dallas will not be able to run their usual stuff against that lineup. I think, like, ultimately, I think it's going to be a shootout of a series. I don't think it's going to be all that defensive oriented. And I think the Warriors offense will prove to be too much for the Mavericks to handle. And I think the Warriors will win in 6. Luka will get his. Luka will play amazing. Luka will play great. And I think he'll get 2 games off them too. But I think ultimately, Golden State will win this in 6. Ultimately.
Yeah, I got the Dubs in 6 too. I hate to kind of sound like a copycat and whatnot, but I just feel like the experience is gonna go, ways for the Warriors, and I think people aren't taking into account that this new death lineup, Steph, Clay, Poole, Dre, and wherever you want to put in the 5, whether it's Wiggins or Looney or...
I think Wiggins has played well enough to...
I think he's garnered that 5th spot, yeah. That's what I would have out there. But those 4 primarily... Wiggins is... He is such a... he's so versatile too that, like, he'll run around and just be, a Marcus Smart for you. He'll run around, do the dirty work, he'll rebound, play defense, do that stuff that you don't even need to worry about him as, in the pecking order of, offense. But what people are not understanding is, like, this team just got these 4 together. Like, playing cohesive basketball together.
In these playoffs, by the way.
In the playoffs.
It was not in the regular season. They didn't have time to run his lineup, like, at all year.
Forget time. They didn't have... Someone was always unavailable. When Clay came back, I think Steph was hurt, right? Was Steph hurt or was it Draymond?
It was Draymond.
Draymond was out basically like a little bit over a month with his back. Steph was dinged up towards the end also. And then the only one who's really been there has been Poole. That's it. And he's been playing basically off of these guys. He's been playing with Steph. He's been playing with Clay. He's had games where he's just played with Draymond. So all these guys coming together, it has obviously it wasn't gonna be an easy. He takes a shot, I take the shot, he takes a shot. Because Clay's coming back. Clay has every right. 3-time champ. He's like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still Klay Thompson. Like, I need my touches. I know Poole's great, and he knows how great Poole is, but he's like, I'm over here. I can still give you, 20 a night, play some at least decent defense, and bring the game home, and with experience. So I just feel like that core 4 is only gonna get more dangerous as time goes by. We might find a complete different Golden State team if they make it to the finals. By the time they make it to the finals, or you could even say the second half of this Mavericks series, I think we're going to see a complete different Golden State team that we've used to see in the past couple
Once
weeks.
they wake up, because to be honest with you guys, we really haven't seen Golden State play at their full capacity yet.
No.
We haven't.
At all.
And I understand that they got pushed to 6 by Memphis, and I understand that they lost by 40 in Game 5. But we really haven't seen them play at their best. Steph, in particular, has not played at his best. He's been shooting not great, and really hasn't found his stroke yet either, to be honest with you. So, who knows? But, again, once this Golden State team has a reason to wake up, they will. Once they wake up, I think they're going to take care of Dallas pretty easily. If they wake up. And by wake up, I mean Steph shoots
North of 50, like we're used
north
to.
of 50, and shoots like above 38% from 3. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
For more than like 2 games. That'd be nice. Like if Steph just plays up to his standards, the Warriors keep winning in 5.
It's a complete different team.
Yeah.
Once these guys get their legs back under him, I mean, Clay's off of a what? Was it a stress fracture in his foot?
Yeah. No.
What was it?
Wait,
A sprained foot, right?
Steph? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a sprained foot at the end.
A sprain, yes.
Like a midfoot sprain or something like that. That, and then, like, I hate to tell people this, but, like, we should be appreciative of the Clay we're still getting. Because not any guy can just come back from a torn ACL and a torn Achilles back to back, especially at this stage of their career. He's on, how old is Clay? 31? 32. Playing a position that requires a ton of agility, and for an offense that requires a ton of movement. He's been running his whole life. Klay Thompson, yeah, he's been playing basketball, but he's been running his whole life. Like that type of shape that that him and Steph have to be in to be able to not just play defense, but to run around screens, be able to be as dangerous on ball, off ball. It takes a lot of energy. That's not just, you don't just turn on just like that. So for him he's getting his legs under him too. So I just think that they're only gonna get as more dangerous as they play. I think they're gonna take care of that, the Mavs in 6. Before we do go, I want to ask you how the young guns like Tatum, Ja, you could put Trae Young in that conversation, Booker and Luka, how they've completely shifted the player hierarchy. Because to be honest with you, if you were to ask me like my top 5 players in the world right now, I'd have to do some thinking. Or even if you said top 10, I'd have to do some thinking. Mm-hmm. I just feel like this playoffs with John Morant's run, the current crazy run that Luka's on right now, he's cleared a new place. What Tatum's been doing since the playoffs started, it all started off with Durant. He's in a new place right now. I feel like we have to, give him his flowers. And then you have guys like Trae Young, Booker, who we saw from this last year. But this feels a little bit more different to me because this involves more. I mean, the thing with Trae and Booker last year was they were able to. They're scorers, so they would just put up these high volume numbers. But we weren't seeing things like what Tatum was doing to KD on defense last year. Luka, we're seeing more Luka. That's really what it is. And I mean, this is a LeBron type. This is giving, young LeBron vibes. That when it comes to this type of playoff run, we haven't, like you said, it's been a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. That type of level has entered the discussion. We weren't saying this about Booker and Trae Young last year. So what do you think about these new young guys going forward?
Tatum and Luka are clearly, in my opinion, clearly in a class above all the young guys in the league.
Yeah.
Trae Young and Booker are great. Trae Young and Booker are amazing offensive talents, but I don't think they get to that level up there.
Yeah.
Who else is a young guy? Booker, Sydney.
I said the Ja, Trae, the tier that I put together. Ja, Trae, Booker.
Ja's up there too. But Ja, I hesitate to put him up there because he needs to do it for more than just a year.
Okay. I can respect that. So if he comes back next year, maintains this type of level of play.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
All right, that's
if he comes back next year and is this player next year too, and his grades are just as good or
better,
but
or someone in the pecking order.
Yeah. Then Ja is up there too.
Yeah.
Like he has to be.
Yeah.
But I don't want Ja to have this amazing year.
Yeah.
Be first to all NBA and let everything else, but then have a down next year.
Yeah.
Because Jaren Jackson gets hurt and you know what I mean? Like
somebody.
I want to wait and see before I put him up there.
Okay.
But I feel like Trae Young, in particular, I think as time goes on, we're gonna find out that he's not. He's not there.
Yeah.
Like he's in that Booker range. Like he won't be able to crack that glass ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's missing something. He's missing a player or a coach or a situation that will unlock his game to that next level. And I don't think he'll find it for a few more years because I don't know who knows. Booker, I remember last year, I think a mutual friend of ours was asking us who we'd either have between Booker and Tatum. Mm-hmm. And I said Tatum because Tatum is the superior defender, and arguably just as good of a scorer, if not better.
Yeah.
I still think that's true. As good as Booker is, I don't think he's as good as Tatum or Luka. Even if Devin Booker took his team to the finals this year, I still wouldn't put him over Luka or Tatum.
Yeah.
Why? Because I simply just based on the eye test.
Yeah.
I don't look at Book and see dominant player.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I do not. I don't see dominance. I don't see this man will lead you to will single-handedly force his way onto a game and win the game for you.
Yeah.
He can do that.
Yeah.
He can like maybe like 60% of the time, but
You're not thinking like a relentless, dominant.
Yes, he's not
superstar like a Giannis.
Yeah, like a Giannis, like a Luka, and Tatum will be there. Tatum he's figuring it out.
Yeah,
Tatum has figured that part out. He knows. I think next season we're going to see a whole new level of Tatum next year.
Yeah, next year I think so too.
I think the current Booker is the best Booker that we will ever see.
Okay.
That's my hot take. I think what Booker is right now, he will not exceed this level of whatever. I think I almost want to say that we've seen his best.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Dropping 40 points in a finals game.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like his best.
His type of ceiling. Okay.
Yeah, his ceiling. I don't think he'll ever be I don't know how to explain it.
I know what you mean, and you don't want to come off as disrespectful, but I know what you mean, and especially in this field of play, I know we may say things and it sounds like, oh, you're being disrespectful, but I mean, you can't say everyone's great. You can't say everyone's number one. You're number one and you're number one. No, there's levels and there's just things you got to do to get to certain levels, and they know more than anyone. I mean, they're the ones out there playing and stuff too. You feel me?
There are certain guys, in my personal opinion, that I watch, that I see, that I can just look at them and say, yeah, this guy has it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I just say for the stars of the NBA, the people in this league who we call stars, quote unquote stars.
Yeah.
I can almost look at them and say, does he have it or not?
Yeah.
And Booker, as good as he is, guys like Trae Young, Booker, Towns is in that class as well.
Yeah.
And I love Towns, but he's in that class as well. They're in that fringe top 10 player range. Their peak is gonna be knocking on the door, but they can't get in. But I think Anthony Edwards is going to eventually ascend.
Oh my God, I didn't even put.
How did I not eventually ascend to where Tatum is right now?
Yeah. How did I not say his name? That's why. And honestly, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Since that series has ended between the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves, I've missed Anthony Edwards so much. I just
his game is so fun to watch.
I just miss watching him play, and I like the way he carries himself. I like the way that he walks around like the best man on the planet. He's like, I'm the best basketball player on the planet. And if you don't think so, that's your problem. That's how he walks around. I love that about him. And I do think very soon he will be in that class with the Tatums and the Trays and the Bookers. I think he will be.
That man is a devastating scorer.
Devastating.
Once his body fills out and he figures out where and how he scores, how Anthony Edwards scores, he's gonna be a problem.
I like the way you worded that. How Anthony Edwards scores, because a lot of players come
finding his spots. A lot of players come in the league, and only a couple. And by a couple, I mean there's really only a couple players that come into the league. I was gonna say that come into the league and they don't just figure out
they don't even need to really figure out how they're going to score because that's how gifted they are at scoring. You know, guys like KD. KD's a guy that like we don't really know. He kind of molded his own way of being very effective on the floor. But there was no really code to figuring out how he should be effective and how to make him ineffective.
No one told KD to use the mid-range, you know?
To the best of his ability, no.
KD decided, all right, I'm 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Shoot, I should use it.
No one can block my shot at this location.
Other guys who are like a similar like height and build, like KP.
Yeah.
Or like Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Like AD.
Yeah.
They decide to score in different ways.
Yeah. AD,
so once Anthony Edwards
way.
figures out, how do I get my buckets? How do I want to put pressure on this defense? What kind of scorer do I want to be? Right? How do I put fear in people's hearts?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that is, once he figures that out, he's gonna like, I really do believe that he's gonna be a devastating. I really do mean devastating scorer.
Yeah.
Devastating. And you pair that with Towns, a elite big man shooter. You only need a few more pieces,
I don't even know really
and that team will get out of the first round next year.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see.
100%.
But yeah, we'll see. Edwards is up there too.
Man, Edwards. All right, ladies and gents, that is a close on episode 6 of Nass. This is Chase. This will not be the last time you see Chase. You'll be seeing a lot of him. And we have a lot more on the way. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuning in. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're subscribed, I still thank you for, making it to this part of the journey. I'm just very grateful for the opportunity and the platform. But all right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.